Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your #1 source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
This area of low pressure continues to bring rain for this Memorial Day weekend. Coming up, I'll explain when we can see some thunderstorms.
Plus, remembering fallen heroes on this Memorial Day. We're live in Fayetteville, where the community is honoring those who paid the ultimate price for our freedoms.
Also, an Air Force veteran who was shot and killed during a robbery is being remembered this Memorial Day. What we've learned about the victim and the 2 men charged in his murder.
Right now, some of us are experiencing a little break in the rain, so break out that grill while you can. Good afternoon to you. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Renee Chu. Thanks so much for joining us. We're going to keep with the cloudy skies. It's also going to be a bit warmer than yesterday. Meteorologist Peter Sherwood is in for Elizabeth with a look at our forecast.
I know everyone wants to know, hey, it's 12 o'clock. What can I get done within this hour? Listen, you can head outdoors and get what you need to get done. Maybe you're thinking about putting some stuff on the grill, or you're heading to a Memorial Day ceremony at 12 or 1 o'clock. I think you guys should be good to go. We are seeing mostly dry conditions on our dual Doppler 5000. Some spots that I'm watching very closely in some of our northern counties. There could be some pockets of mist and drizzle in Granville County as well as Franklin County. But overall, this is the time to get outside. We're looking live at Fayetteville right now. You can see all the clouds out there for this afternoon. Cloudy out there in Lewisburg, and the streets are drying out just a little bit. As we head into this afternoon, I'm talking about perhaps 3 o'clock, we could start to see some of those spotty showers develop once again, especially for some of our southern counties and areas to the west. Notice as we head into the 6 o'clock hour, though, some of our northern counties could see a better chance of showers and thunderstorms, and those thunderstorms are going to roll through for tonight. As we head into the 12 o'clock hour, we are going to see that fizzle out, looking drier for the overnight hours. It's also very warm this morning compared to the weekend. 69 degrees, the current temperature in the Triangle. And for this afternoon, we're heading to 73 degrees, likely to see temperatures in this evening in the 60s. Coming up, I'm going to show you how much more rainfall we're expecting as we head into the next 2 days.
From the nation's capital to cities across the country, communities are honoring those who paid the ultimate price for our freedoms. Just a short time ago, people in Cumberland County gathered for a special service at Freedom Memorial Park. Our Fayetteville reporter, Gilbert Bays, was there to honor the brave men and women who died on the battlefield. And Gilbert, I know you as a former Ranger qualified officer who served at Fort Bragg. I know this was a very moving event for you.
Well, Jeff, yes, it's always a moving event for me, but also for the countless Americans across this country who have had friends and family members who have paid the ultimate sacrifice in war. But it's also extra special for those of us who choose to live here in Fayetteville and Cumberland County because of our friends who proudly serve at Fort Bragg, soon to become Fort Liberty. Now, it did not rain here this morning during the ceremony, but the weather may have impacted the size of the crowd in attendance, but it did not dampen the spirit of those who came out to honor those who paid the ultimate sacrifice for our country. We had wreaths that were posted at monuments that remember the fallen at just about every war in which Americans fought and died. And just about anyone in this crowd could tell you a story about a loved one or a friend who served and why this day is extra special.
Especially guys and gals that's been deployed a lot, we look at it a little bit differently. We continually think about those guys and gals that we lost in combat every day. I mean, they're never far from our mind because those are our friends, our comrades.
Now, the fallen were honored with a gun salute and the rendering of taps, as you can hear. And those still unaccounted for during the war were remembered with the Missing Man Table ceremony. And, while all this was going on, I was making my way around the Memorial Park here and just taking some pictures. I had a guy who came up to me and asked me, "Sir, do you know if the names on this Vietnam memorial are going to be read aloud?" And I told him I wasn't sure, and I asked him why. He said, "Well, I had an awful lot of friends who died in Vietnam." He said that with a lot of emotion, Jeff. He held his head down and he just walked away. Jeff, and everybody listening, make sure you enjoy your day off. This is a day that you remember that freedom is not free.
Don't we know that? And Gilbert, thank you for your service.
We never want to forget the meaning behind this holiday. President Joe Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris, and Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin took part in the annual Memorial Day tradition at Arlington National Cemetery. As part of the 155th National Memorial Day observance, President Biden delivered the address at Memorial Amphitheater. This is a live look at the tomb of the unknown soldier, where he took part in a wreath-laying ceremony earlier as well. This was Biden's third speech since taking office. There, Secretary Austin also delivered remarks.
Throughout the annals of history, our troops have fought for our democracy and, if necessary, died for it. Today, their service and sacrifice, and that of their families, echoes far beyond those silent stones out there.
The first official Decoration Day was held at Arlington National Cemetery on May 30th, 1868, following the Civil War. The holiday became officially known as Memorial Day in 1971.
There are many events happening today in our area to honor service members who made the supreme sacrifice. Here's a look at just a few of them. Raleigh Post 1 of the American Legion will hold a service at the Raleigh National Cemetery on Rock Quarry Road. That's at 2 p.m. The Raleigh Concert Band will start playing at 1:30 and play for 30 minutes prior to that service. Cary's Memorial Day Remembrance is at 2:30 this afternoon. That's at a special Field of Flags at Veterans Freedom Park. Parking is available at Cary Academy, and there will be a shuttle between the two locations. You can find a full list of Memorial Day ceremonies, events, and observances in the WRAL app and online at WRAL.com. Just go to our Out and About section.
On this Memorial Day, Goldsboro police say a man who was shot and killed during a store robbery was an Air Force veteran. Alex Thomas was the manager at the Family Dollar on Wayne Memorial Drive. That's where you find WRAL's Keenan Willard, who just spoke with Thomas's loved ones about how they'll remember him. Keenan.
Renee, we know this weekend, obviously, all about honoring those who gave the ultimate sacrifice and fought for our country. But how difficult when they're taken senselessly here at home after fighting those battles. Thomas's girlfriend tells me that this store and this community meant everything to him. And both she and the family are now trying to come to grips with this shocking and sudden loss. Goldsboro police say it happened here around 3:15 yesterday afternoon. Investigators say they were called to the store for an armed robbery and that a man had been shot. They found Thomas behind the counter where he'd been shot in the chest. He later died from his injuries at the hospital. Police arrested two men, 20-year-old Yaheem Fryer and 24-year-old Aaron Coppage. They say both of them have been charged with murder and armed robbery and are being held without bond. Today, those who loved the victim tell me Alex Thomas was working to build something here after leaving the military, and they'll remember him as a confident and caring person who could do anything he set his mind to.
It's not fair what happened to him. He didn't deserve this. He had so much going. He was working so hard. It's just been a really long night.
You can see the emotion that she is and so many others in this community are struggling with today in the wake of this incident. Today, Thomas's family is sharing more about what comes next as they grieve this loss and go through this process. More on that ahead on the WRAL Evening News. Renee.
Heavy hearts in that community. Keenan Willard reporting live in Goldsboro. Cary police say speed was a factor in a crash that sent two people to the hospital. It happened just after 5 this morning off US 1. The WRAL Breaking News Tracker was there as crews cleaned up the aftermath. Officers say 23-year-old Hannah Eubanks hydroplaned off US 1 near Tryon Road and slammed into the trees. The driver and a passenger were rushed to the hospital with serious but non-life-threatening injuries. No word on whether Eubanks will be charged.
And I'm Brian Schrader in the WRAL Live Center. We learned just a little while ago that an 8th person has been rescued from that partial building collapse in Davenport, Iowa. No word on the person's condition, but we're told that they were taken to the hospital. Officials say so far no deaths have been reported in this, and there's no indication of anyone trapped in the rubble of that partially collapsed apartment building in downtown Davenport. They are still concerned about stability as they look through the rubble there. And investigators still don't have a cause for this collapse, but we've learned that residents and people in the area say that there had been complaints just as recently as last week of bricks falling off that building.
Brian, thanks for that update. The deadline to avoid default is approaching, and President Biden is now saying the debt ceiling deal with House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is ready to move to Congress. Tomorrow, the House Rules Committee will consider the deal before a vote on Wednesday. NBC's Kelly O'Donnell breaks down what's in the measure.
We've got good news.
This morning, a critical breakthrough, a plan that would avert a catastrophic first-in-history default by suspending the nation's borrowing limit until early 2025 and tightening federal spending.
We've reached a bipartisan budget agreement that we're ready to move to the full Congress.
The tentative deal follows days of intense back-and-forth negotiations between President Biden, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, and their teams. The result is a compromise that Congress must still vote to approve, so the drama is not yet over.
So it's not 100% what everybody wants, but when you look, the country is going to be stronger.
The agreement would hold non-defense federal spending roughly flat for 2024, with a 1% increase for 2025. Expand some work requirements for recipients of federal food assistance, SNAP benefits, until 2030, but exempts veterans and the homeless. Unspent COVID funding, about $30 billion, would be clawed back. $20 billion from the IRS would be shifted to meet other government needs. The plan also funds veterans' medical care and keeps student debt relief. Lawmakers will now be able to read the 99-page bill with a House vote expected Wednesday. Democrats' Progressive Caucus with a mixed reaction.
I'm not happy with some of the things I'm hearing about, but they are not cutting the deficit and they are not cutting spending.
While both the White House and Speaker looking to claim pieces of victory.
We did a conference call with our conference, and over 95% were overwhelmingly excited about what they see.
I have no idea whether he has votes. I expect he does. I don't think he would have made the agreement.
That was Kelly O'Donnell reporting. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen said after crunching the numbers further, the default deadline is extended to June 5th.
Next at noon, people are returning home from their Memorial weekend travels. The changes RDU made to make the airport experience smoother this time around.
Also, scientists are working to find a way to build a base on Mars. The research they're doing now to make way for humans on the planet later.
Plus, on this Memorial Day, the VA wants military families to know about a frequently unused benefit, how the VA wants to say thank you one final time.
Download the new WRAL streaming apps on Roku, Fire TV.
It's a live look down Fayetteville Street right now this noon. Downtown Raleigh, streets are dry right now. We're getting a little break here as you watch WRAL News, available on YouTube TV and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device.
Today will be another stress test for airlines as millions of people begin their journey home from Memorial Day vacations. Here's a live look at RDU International Airport right now. We are tracking what you can expect if you're headed home by plane. WRAL's Nye Harden explains it seems to have been a mostly smooth weekend for air travelers.
Yeah, passengers are glad that they have not experienced what they experienced last year, which was a lot of chaos. Right now, we're taking a look at RDU Airport, and you can see things are running smoothly. They've been seeing this crowd in waves, so it's been a little bit busy, and then it'll slow down, and then it'll pick back up again. I guarantee you, likely throughout the rest of the day, it's going to look way busier, and that is because RDU says more than 44,000 people are going to be going through this airport today alone. I checked this morning, and only 3 flights are delayed at RDU. Last Memorial Day and summer left passengers across the country stranded. Airlines were understaffed and experienced record delays. Well, airlines have now hired about 30,000 workers since then, and they're using bigger planes to reduce flights, but not the number of seats. The FAA also opened up a new flight paths to reduce bottlenecks in the sky. The Transportation Secretary tweeted flight cancellation rates remain below 1% this weekend. Good news for passengers traveling back home.
It has been actually a smooth going and coming. I was very surprised. Our flight actually left early and not late. So Delta has done a phenomenal job. I'm surprised, but they have.
And if you are planning to travel this holiday weekend today, make sure that you get to the airport early. Experts say you still want to make sure you have enough time to get through TSA. Nia Harden, WRAL News in Wake County.
If you have to fill up the tank, you'll see cheaper prices at the gas pump than this time last year. An update from AAA after 4 a.m. shows the average cost of a gallon in North Carolina is $3.29. That's the same as yesterday and down a cent from Saturday. It is well below what we saw this time last year when prices were around $4.35 a gallon.
A state of emergency is in effect in Canada. This is Halifax, Nova Scotia, where a wildfire is raging out of control right now. It's caused evacuations and power outages. People there were forced to make this hazardous, harrowing, dangerous drive through the fire to safety. Nova Scotia temporarily disconnected power in the affected area. There's no word on the cause or any injuries. The state of emergency could stay in place for a week unless it's lifted or extended. Today marks 70 years since the first two people reached the summit of Mount Everest. People paid tribute at the statues of Sir Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay. Both reached the world's highest mountain on May 29, 1953. Hundreds of people attended a ceremony in Kathmandu to mark the anniversary. Several climbers were also honored, including a Sherpa guide who climbed Everest twice this season, for now a record 28 times overall, and the first double above-the-knee amputee to climb Mount Everest.
While we may not be close to living on Mars, scientists are at least trying to get us closer to building a base on the red planet. They're studying earthquake activity to help narrow down the best possible locations for a future fort. Marianne Rafferty takes a closer look.
A lot of things need to happen before people could potentially live on Mars, like building a base. To help determine the most stable and safest location on the red planet for a future fort, scientists in Switzerland are studying earthquake activity on Mars to learn more about its structural integrity. That's the noise of a 4.6 magnitude Mars quake at the center of this research. It's one of the largest quakes recorded during NASA's previous InSight mission.
What's great about this quake was that it was so strong that these surface waves were able to travel the entire planet multiple times. You can now start to measure the velocity of which these surface waves travel along the planet. And, based on that velocity, we can actually extract the information about the interior structure of Mars.
Using the rumbles from this Mars quake, researchers calculated Mars' crust, or outermost layer, is between 26 to 35 miles deep, thicker than the crust on Earth and the Moon. The quake also revealed the crust on the southern hemisphere of the red planet is deeper than in the north. Besides building a base in a spot not prone to earthquakes, researchers also recommend construction center near ice deposits on Mars to help provide people with a source of water.
That was Marianne Rafferty reporting. To help advance these findings, researchers say future manned missions to Mars should include a scientist trained in understanding the inner makeup of the planet. Just amazing that this could very well happen in our lifetime, but I'm good to just stick here and planet Earth.
It's super interesting with those earthquakes. You don't want to build on the earthquake. That is wild stuff right there. We're trying to figure stuff out here. And we take anywhere really outside of the last couple of days of weather that we've had in this area. Elizabeth Gardner has the day off, so Peter Sherwood in the WRS Severe Weather Center.
Yeah, we are seeing some dry time this hour. As we take a live look at our dual Doppler 5000, I do want to show you here, especially in the Triangle, it is mostly dry, but I'm watching some spots like in Harnett County there. We are seeing a quick shower moving through. It is very light in nature. If you do want to head out and maybe put some things on the grill, I think you'll be fine. And if you're heading out to a Memorial Day ceremony within the hour or so, you should be fine as well. We're looking live at downtown Raleigh from Jimmy V's, and the streets are drying out at this hour. We are seeing drier conditions in Apex as well, but a lot of cloud cover out there right now, and I expect that to stick with us throughout the entire hour. afternoon. Some spotty showers will get going once again, and we could see some thunderstorms in some of those northern areas later this evening. But temperatures are going to be in the 70s today. We're talking about 73 degrees in Raleigh, Durham, and Fayetteville. With the cloud cover around, it is just going to be hard for us to see any big time warming for today. But keep in mind, temperatures in the 70s, that's a big difference compared to what we were dealing with for this weekend with those readings in the 60s. It's because of this low pressure system that is now over us in North Carolina. It's going to continue to meander over the Carolinas over the next 2 days, but it is weakening. So as it continues to weaken with that drier air trying to filter in, we are going to see this system allow our rain chances to come down over the next couple of days. So for the next couple of hours, 2 hours or so, we should be mostly dry. Heading into the 3 o'clock hour, we could see some scattered showers develop, especially across our southern and western counties. By this evening, we're going to watch all those counties along the North Carolina and Virginia line. That's where we're likely to see some showers and thunderstorms develop that will move towards the west and fizzle out by the time we head into 12 o'clock. Likely to see mostly dry conditions overnight into tomorrow morning. And tomorrow morning with the cloud cover around, I won't be surprised if we get some pockets of mist and drizzle out the door on Tuesday, very similar to what we woke up to this morning. But by the afternoon, scattered showers will develop once again, and we are going to see gradual clearing as we head throughout the day on Wednesday. As of now, we're likely to see about 1/4 of an inch or less of rainfall over the next 2 days. Notice Thursday and Friday, if you're thinking about getting some yard work done, those are the best 2 days of this week to get outside. Our temperatures are in the 70s today. We'll climb to 77 and 78 degrees on Wednesday. The 80s are going to return. We'll have to wait until Thursday for that.
Peta, thanks. And as you saw on the 7-day, the rain won't stick around forever. And when the sun does return and we get some 80-degree temperatures, we will be in full pool season. Pools can be a great way to beat the heat. Today at 5, we hear from doctors about key ways to keep your kids safe around water. Plus,
it's almost summer. A little sweaty, maybe stinky. Coming up, Consumer Reports and 5 on your side will tell you just how often you need to wash your clothes and other items in your home.
this Memorial Day, it's not just people traveling, their pets are as well.
Carolina Shively shares a few things that pet owners should keep in mind if their fur babies are joining on a summer road trip.
Pet ownership is on the rise. 87 million U.S. households now have a pet, compared to 85 million in 2019. And with AAA estimating that more than 42 million Americans will travel at least 50 miles from home this Memorial Day weekend, that means more pets are also hitting the roads and flying the skies.
I really think the main advantage is the companionship.
Animal wellness experts say getting you and your pet safely from point A to point B starts with knowing the risks and having a plan.
Certainly containment is the most important thing.
If driving, it's suggested you use a travel harness, not only to protect your pet, but to keep the driver from getting distracted. And if flying, stick to direct flights to reduce travel stress for both you and your loved one. Plus, there are packing tips.
Make sure that you bring extra food and water, because the water at your destination location can potentially cause tummy upset for your pets. We also recommend that you bring medical records, any kind of medications your pet may need.
Making traveling with pets even easier, particularly those road stops. The FDA updated its food code late last year, saying restaurants can now have dogs in outdoor areas with approval from a local regulator.
I think dogs should be allowed everywhere.
That was Caroline Shively reporting. And another thing to remember, if your dog travels in the car with you this summer, dogs can overheat quickly, so never leave them unattended in the vehicle.
They served our country, but many veterans are not using their final benefit. Coming up, the push on this Memorial Day to raise awareness about the veteran burial benefit.
Plus, as communities work to keep kids safe from gun violence, a growing number of schools are turning to artificial intelligence. Why some companies say it will not totally eliminate the need for humans. And here are your winning lottery numbers on your screen right now.
shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
On this Memorial Day, the Department of Veterans Affairs wants to raise awareness about a final honor for our nation's veterans. The agency says burial benefits frequently go unused by veterans, and they want those who served and their families to know the extent of their options. Karen Kafa reports from Arlington, Virginia.
Amid the quiet and the solemnity, Arlington National Cemetery is expanding, adding 70 acres to the south of these hallowed grounds, an estimated 80,000 burial sites by late 2027.
The current physical expansion that we're doing right now was the last available land contiguous, in other words, connecting to Arlington National Cemetery. And even to do that expansion, we've had to reconstruct existing roads.
About 30 miles to the south of Arlington is Quantico National Cemetery. It's one of 155 national cemeteries across the nation, maintained by the Department of Veterans Affairs National Cemetery Administration. The network also includes 121 state-run cemeteries funded by the VA, and they say about 94% of U.S. veterans have one of these burial sites within 75 miles of home. Still, utilization of VA burial benefits, which include no-cost interment as well as similar benefits for spouses and dependents, is low compared to other VA benefits like health care and education. Last year, just 22%.
That's a number we want to see increase. We want to make sure veterans know that this is an option across America.
So they're working to improve rural access to burial sites and in dense urban areas build above-ground columbariums with a smaller footprint, like this one at Los Angeles National Cemetery. Another will soon open in Queens, New York. All of it a way to say thank you one final time.
The way we look at it is this is the nation's last chance to thank that veteran for their service.
That was Karen Kafa reporting. The Poppy Wall of Honor is back on the National Mall for this Memorial Day. The wall is filled with more than 645,000 red poppies, one for each of the men and women who laid down their lives in service to our country since World War I. It also features the history of the poppy and its relationship to honoring soldiers. The Remembrance Poppy was inspired by a World War I poem which refers to the red poppies that grew from the soldiers' graves in a region of Belgium.
Every one of those poppies are handmade by the veterans of foreign wars and the American Legion, for either with therapy wounded warriors or some type of opportunity for them to reflect on that.
New to the wall this year is a special panel commemorating the 50th anniversary of the United States exit from the Vietnam War. The annual exhibit is open to the public through today.
With school shootings at their highest number in 2 decades, a growing number of campuses are piloting artificial intelligence to bolster their security systems. Madeline Rivera has the latest on the pros and cons of using AI security in schools.
We have to take an all of the above approach so we can keep our children and our communities safe.
As communities across the country work to prevent gun violence, schools are increasingly turning to artificial intelligence to keep students safe.
We use your existing video cameras coupled with our artificial intelligence gun detection to prevent threats.
Security technology companies using AI to detect concealed weapons, connect with the school's existing surveillance cameras to spot weapons brought on campus.
This artificial intelligence has the ability to be able to identify a weapon, to assess what's going on and how that person is acting.
Touted as being faster, less invasive, and more accurate than traditional security screeners, AI doesn't require bag checks or body searches.
It typically works with an existing security camera system where it sits alongside that and plays the role of the human being that might or might not be monitoring.
But the high-speed technology isn't foolproof.
We're aware of all the amazing and wonderful things that AI can do, but at the same time, there are lots of potential negative implications of AI.
False positives are just one example of when cameras detect something that's not actually a gun.
That was Madeline Rivera reporting. To avoid sending police out when there is no real danger, many of these AI pilot projects are relying on humans who first verify if what's being flagged is an actual threat before notifying authorities.
Our county-by-county coverage takes us to Orange, Lee, and Harnett counties. The Orange County Health Department was awarded with the Honors and Reaccreditation process on Friday. This is a process that happens every 4 years. The Accreditation Board highlighted OCHD's unique Family Success Program and the Gateway Collaborative. The Family Success Alliance serves families to break the cycle of poverty. The Gateway Collaborative is a way the department serves as a community resource center in a low-income apartment complex. The city of Sanford is getting rid of some old extra cars, office equipment, and much more today. If you're in the market for these things, you should check out the auction. The city says it has a surplus of vehicles, desks, chairs, maybe even a backhoe in there. The auction started at 8 this morning. It runs through June 8th. It's happening at govdeals.com, and you do have to register with the site before placing any bids. The Lillington Post Office is hoping to hire new carriers. It's hosting a job fair Wednesday from 10 to noon and 2 to 4. It's happening at the NC Works Career Center on South 9th Street in Lillington. You'll need to pre-register at ncworks.gov.
We're learning more about how artificial intelligence is helping the medical field. Coming up, how it could help determine if breast cancer will spread.
Plus, the CDC says black children are more likely to have asthma than any other race. We'll tell you why it affects this group the most. Welcome back this noon. Black children are more likely to develop asthma than any other racial group in the U.S. U.S. health officials say that's because racially motivated housing laws of the past mean black people are more likely to live near polluted areas. Kristen Mayo introduces us to patients who say change is overdue.
The most up-to-date data from the CDC reveals nearly 26 million people in the U.S. have asthma. More than 4 million of those are children.
I have a bad cough. It hurts my body.
But for black children in particular, asthma is proving to be even more alarming. The CDC reports African-American kids are more likely to develop asthma than any other racial group in the country.
I've already got asthma. 2 out of 4 of my kids have asthma. Now I just have to hope I can prevent it for my grandchildren.
Besides genetics, health officials say high rates of asthma in black kids is fueled by racially motivated housing laws of the past, which resulted in African Americans becoming more likely to live near energy plants that release pollutants in the air, and in older rental units prone to breathing hazards like mold.
It's clear that there is systemic racism. I don't think that there's a racist on the steps of the Capitol saying, let's have all toxicants go to communities of color. But the rules and the processes that are in place tend to make that happen.
Catherine Manson's son Carter has asthma. She recalls when the 5-year-old had his first asthma attack in public.
He just kept saying, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. He's crying. And I'm just like, okay, just breathe, just breathe. Sorry. It was scary.
That's Kristen Mayo reporting. More than 3,500 people die from asthma complications each year. CDC data shows black kids are 8 times more likely to die from asthma than white kids.
Artificial intelligence could help cancer specialists in Great Britain determine whether breast cancer will spread. Oncologists say they've developed an AI model to help predict whether aggressive cancers will spread based on changes in a patient's lymph nodes. The researchers hope to use AI to analyze immune responses of women with triple-negative breast cancer. The team is planning more tests across Europe. 2 competitions give talented contestants a shot at making their dreams come true. Coming up, how the love of die-cast cars is fueling excitement over NBC's latest challenge. Plus,
yeah, how sweet that sound is. After the break, we'll talk to a local contestant on How Sweet the Sound, a contest that lets participants let their lights shine.
it is 12:44, and wondering if you remember what the sun looks like. It's like this bright object that you're supposed to see in the sky, but we don't really see it anymore.
It's up there, covered up by this fog out there. I mean, even another view. Peter Sherwood of the WRAL Severe Weather Center is even worse there.
Yeah, I want to show you here. This is a live look at downtown Raleigh. Really hard to pick out from our WRAL live cam network, and it's because of the lower level clouds that we have going on at this hour. It is very cloudy out there. Check out our dual Doppler 5000 though, as we take a live look at it at this 12 o'clock hour, we are not seeing a lot of rain. Most of that rain is out, but we do have another chance of seeing some spotty showers into the afternoon. I think that's going to develop around 3 o'clock. Not everyone will see the rain around this hour, but if it's coming down, it is expected to be fairly light for this afternoon. Once we head into this evening, we have a better chance of seeing some showers and perhaps some thunderstorms in our northern counties. That's likely to get going after 6 o'clock. Take a look at that. That's around 9 o'clock. Some of those showers and thunderstorms moving into areas like Rocky Mount, and then it's going to fizzle out. By the time we head into the overnight hours, we're likely to see a lot of cloud cover more than anything. Those showers are going to develop once again in the afternoon on Tuesday. Remember, this area of low pressure is not going anywhere over the next couple of days. It's going to stay with us, and that's why we have rain chances on tap for Tuesday afternoon. We'll see some drier conditions try to creep in as we head into Wednesday. We're also watching this warm flow that's going to build back in. So we're looking at the mid to upper levels of the atmosphere here, and with this low pressure system moving towards the north and east, a ridge will develop as we head into Wednesday. That ridge will allow our temperatures to warm up into the 80s by Thursday. Let me show you the numbers here. 73 will be the high in Raleigh as well as Fayetteville. If you're traveling across the state today, watch for those spotty showers. 71 for the high temperature in Charlotte. Could see some fog there. 70 degrees for the high in Greensboro. Locally, we are going to see our temperatures gradually warm into the upper 70s. Getting to 77 by Tuesday, 78 on Wednesday, and then near normal for this time of the year. I think we'll have a better shot of seeing sunshine as we head into Thursday with that high of 82 degrees. 85 on Friday, staying mostly dry for both of those days. Now keep in mind as we look ahead into June 5th and the 11th, our temperatures are trending below normal for this time of the year. So again, it's going to be really hard for us to see those numbers shoot up into the 90s. I know some folks are happy for that. You know, if we can hang on to the cooler air this time of the year, even better. And some folks are just itching for it to feel like summer. We are going to get a nice little taste of summer as we head into the end of the week with those temperatures in the 80s, and we do have a small chance of rain developing for the weekend.
Peta, thank you. For nearly 2 decades, America's Got Talent has become a summer ritual on TV. The show's new season begins tomorrow night on WRAL.
Mark Barger has a preview, including 2 of the acts you'll see this week.
Welcome to America's Got Talent. What's your name?
My name is Shadow Ace.
The annual summer search for talent is underway once again.
Our baby's all grown up, 18 years old. Can you believe this?
A show devoted to voting on talent
4 years old!
is now voting age itself.
I think it's fantastic. It's like they're like every year it gets better and better.
Last season's winner found themselves performing with Beyonce earlier this year at a concert in Dubai.
I know that Beyonce is watching America's Got Talent. Hi, Queen.
AGT's audience may be royal, but it is definitely loyal.
We always call the audience the fifth judge.
Awaiting the next surprise, like a shadow puppeteer from the Philippines.
Oppan Gangnam Style.
I've been impressed more than I have been impressed in any other season. And as somebody who's jaded, that's why I say, wow.
And even when auditions are not completely flawless, they can still be enough to impress.
So we don't know what they're going to do until we meet them. And there are times where it's not so good. Other times you're like, that was unbelievable.
It's the thrill of discovery that keeps its host.
I love this show.
And fans coming back. Mark Barger, NBC News.
America's Got Talent airs tonight, 8 o'clock on WRAL, followed by the series premiere of Hot Wheels Ultimate Challenge. That's at 10 o'clock. It's a competition that pits 2 Hot Wheels superfans and their teams head-to-head in an effort to turn ordinary cars from their past into the souped-up Hot Wheels cars of their dreams. Each week's winner takes home $25,000 and a spot on the season finale, where there is more money on the line. Plus, the ultimate prize, turning their life-size creation into a real-life miniaturized Hot Wheels car.
Amazing.
Isn't it, though? That's neat. A dream come true for some, right? Back with our top stories in just a moment.
A national competition is reshaping the gospel music industry. This summer, How Sweet the Sound will showcase breakthrough performers in music, dance, and spoken word. And one of the contestants is from Raleigh. Joining us to talk about his journey is Anthony Sutton of Anthony Sutton and Fresh Wind. Anthony, great to see you. First of all, congratulations on you and your group being a finalist. Tell us a little bit about your group.
Thank you so much. I am Anthony Sutton, of course, the founder of the choir. My choir is Fresh Wind, and we are located in Raleigh, North Carolina.
And you made it all the way to the finals representing this national competition. Talk about how you guys all got your start.
Well, we started about 3 years ago before COVID, and once COVID came, we took a sabbatical, but we came back and we entered this competition. It's been around for quite some time. We submitted our interview, and over 100 participants, our choirs, submitted their videos, and we were, out of the 3 choirs, we were one of those that were selected. So we're honored to be honored to participate in this competition.
It is a huge honor. So judges include Grammy winners Hezekiah Walker, Tamila Mann, Jacqueline Carr, and renowned gospel choir director Ricky Dillard, just to name a few. What does it mean to you to be chosen to stand before them?
I think it's an honor. It's the competition is all about unifying gospel choirs and soloists and the power in gospel music. And I've watched these pioneers in gospel as a small boy. So performing in front of them, it's a great honor, and we're excited about it.
And Anthony, how would you describe the sound of the Fresh Wind?
Fresh wind is exactly what it says. It's a fresh wind. The anointing on our lives and our sound is very different. It's a very unique sound. And we're just here just to edify the name of Jesus Christ.
We love that you're representing Raleigh. The live competition takes place Saturday in Atlanta. How can viewers get tickets for the competition?
Well, they can head over to Ticketmaster.com and type in How Sweet the Sound Gospel Competition. And I think there are a few more seats left. They can grab their ticket right there.
Well, wishing you best of luck, Anthony Sutton and the Fresh Wind. I know you want bragging honors, but also cash prizes there with this contest. We'll be cheering for you here in Raleigh. Thanks for talking with us.
Thank you so much for this time.
And we wrap things up this noon with a look at a few of the headlines we're following for you today. People across the country, including our area, are observing Memorial Day in different ways. Just a short time ago, people in Cumberland County gathered for a special service at Freedom Memorial Park. Wreaths were posted at monuments that remember people who gave their life at just about every war in which Americans fought and died.
We now know the man killed during a robbery in Goldsboro was an Air Force veteran. Police say 2 people robbed this Family Dollar store on Wayne Memorial Drive yesterday. They say during the robbery, one of the suspects shot Alexander Thomas, who was behind the cash register. WRAL's Keena Willard spoke with Thomas's girlfriend about what happened, and he'll have her message on our evening news.
It'll be another stress test of sorts for airlines today as millions of people begin their journeys home from Memorial Day vacations. RDU says it expects more than 44,000 people to go through the airport today. So far, airlines have not canceled any flights at the airport. 9 flights have been delayed at RDU.
The Durham Police Department is facing staffing shortages, forcing them to change their approach to policing. Today at 4 on WRAL, the new techniques they're trying out to fill the staffing gap and its new approach to combating violence.
NBC News Daily is next on WRAL, your next local news update in 30 minutes.
You can watch the French Open on WRAL, and thanks for watching Fox 50. You can get breaking news updates anytime on our WRAL News app.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air channel 34 and Spectrum channel 1257.